Alrighty, hello everyone, and welcome to episode 112 of the Dear Herbalists podcast titled Herbalism as Activism, Healing Communities Through Plants. If you are new to this podcast, welcome. And if you are a returning listener, thank you so much for your continued listen, your continued support, sharing, reaching out, putting comments down. I appreciate all of you. So we're going to dive into an important topic this evening on herbalism as activism, because in many communities, particularly those that are underserved, mainstream healthcare is either inaccessible, unaffordable, or just simply not even trusted. As community herbalists, we have a unique opportunity to empower people with knowledge, tools, and access to plant medicine, allowing them to take control of their health. But herbalism goes beyond just physical healing. It also fosters resilience, it strengthens community ties, and it challenges systemic inequalities in healthcare. So tonight, take a walk with me. Let's explore how herbal medicine and herbalism in and of itself can serve as a revolutionary act of healing and empowerment. And if you are paying attention to what's going on in our healthcare systems today, or if you have been paying attention to what's going on to our healthcare system, you understand that now more than ever, we have to empower people to take their own healthcare into their own hands. You have to walk, you have to go. Even if you are afraid, you're going to have to make a change if you want to survive. So let's dive into it. Let's look at herbalism as empowerment. Herbalism has always been a grassroots movement. It's about reclaiming control over personal and collective health, moving away from over-reliance on mainstream medical systems. And there's a lot of people out there that do that. They hold on to the medical system so tight, they won't let them go. They'll tell them, if they tell them drink poison, they probably would, And again, a lot of that has to do with fear. But through education and practice, we can teach people how to use plants for their well-being, particularly in communities that have historically been denied access to quality health care. Herbal medicine is knowledge that belongs to the people, and by sharing it, we empower individuals to care for themselves and their loved ones in a sustainable and accessible way. The reality of it is that historically we have lost our way in terms of herbal medicine. Our ancestors and those that have gone before us, this knowledge was spread throughout the community, from the community. And people knew what plant did what. If you got sick or somebody got hurt, somebody else in the community would know, and everybody would share that information. And then eventually it would be passed down to generations. Well, somewhere along the way, that information has kind of been cut. And as the medical community kind of started merging and moving forward to the forefront, people slowly started to get rid of the knowledge that they once knew about plant medicine and started picking up a whole new way of taking care of themselves and picking up a whole new mindset to rely on someone else to be in charge of their health care for them. In many areas, traditional medicine is simply not an option due to cost, location, and cultural mistrust. And this is where community herbalists can step in. We actually bridge the gap by providing plant-based alternatives for common ailments like cold and flu, stress, digestive discomfort, hypertension, and so many other different issues. And by offering knowledge on different remedies and care, we can help individuals become active participants in their own healing. And let me speak really quickly about the cultural mistrust, because a lot of people want to try to brush these things off. It is definitely not a good idea to do that. The culture that I come from, okay, historically, we do not trust the medical systems due to, what has been done to us over years. You're talking about the scientific experiments that we were subjected to. You talk about the fake blood that was given to us, the wrong organs taken out, the wrong limbs being chopped off. You talk about, medical racism. There's a lot of these issues that really happen to people in this world, or has systemically happened, or even within societies has happened. And so that pain and all of that has trickled down through the generation. And as things continue to keep occurring, Okay. That puts people at a place where they don't trust the medical system. They just don't. And it's a reality. And so because they don't, that's one of the reasons why they say, I'm not going to go get health care. I'm not going to go get this looked at or this checked into. I'm not doing it because my uncle went in there and he went in there with diabetes and he came out dead, or he didn't come out at all, or, whatever the case may be. This is a reality, especially for people of color. Okay. So because of that, there are a lot of people in my community that are not going to the doctors, that are not listening to physicians and these people and that or the white coat syndrome is real. So they won't go at all. They won't have any type of care, no x-rays, no blood work, no nothing. They're not touching the inside of nobody's clinic, hospital, facility at all. And so because of that, we as community herbalists, we have to be there amongst the community. We have to get the pulse of the community so that they can trust us. And we know that herbs can help them. There's tons of herbs out here, different varieties of herbs that can address dang near everything that they are probably dealing with. And because we look alike, or we may share similar experiences or zip codes, they're more apt to trust you because you're on the ground. You're doing the work. You're in their community. You're not only educating them, but you also help their baby get over a cold. You also, help their grandmother beat her diabetes. Okay. They see you in the community doing the community work. So they're more apt to come to you because they trust you, because you took time to build that trust. So that is very important. And all of that is a part of herbal medicine as community medicine, and making sure that we get that message out there. Now let's look at herbal medicine as resistance. Okay. And this is all about challenging healthcare inequalities. I can't tell you, I can jump on my soapbox right now. I'm trying not to, because this is something I'm very passionate about. But just because you cannot afford healthcare, okay, does not mean that you should not be able to have access to it. Again, just because you cannot afford it does not mean that you should not have access to it. Now, I get it. There's a system here. It's not just about the healthcare. It's about prevention. And that's a whole nother thing. We're talking about access to good foods, getting away from these food deserts in a lot of these communities. It's kind of like a systemic thing that goes on. But no matter what, if something should to happen, you should have access to good quality care. And so herbal medicine has been used for a long time, especially during the slave. If you read a lot of the slave narratives, which was something that I really had gotten into and was diving deep into, just to try to understand what my ancestors went through and what their mindset was at the time of what they were dealing with as it pertains to, the issues they were dealing with, but also the herbs that they were dealing with and the herbs that they used to help address their issues. I learned that herbal medicine for a long time had been used as a tool of resistance, because historically we relied on herbal medicine to maintain our health. And this was in the face of oppression, segregation, discrimination, medical neglect. A lot of that too was trust. You didn't know if Massa was sending you to the hospital for good reasons or not. So you like, nah, man, I'm straight. I'll take care of it in the field. I don't need y'all help, y'all clinics, y'all doctors, none of that. Right. So it's like, no, we're not doing that. We're going to take care of it ourselves. And so today the fight continues as herbal medicine stands up against economic disparities, lack of access, and biased healthcare system. We have to stand up. And so by keeping this knowledge alive and accessible, we actively challenge structures that seek to limit people's ability to heal themselves, because we hold people accountable. It's not just one big system that is the one that can heal everyone, right? It's like, only come to us. Only we know what we're talking about. Everybody else, they don't know what they're talking about. Forget your grandmother who had all that knowledge. Forget your grandpa. Forget your mama, whoever else it is that carries this knowledge. Forget all them. Only come to us. No matter what, just trust us. And that's a no. That's going to be a no for me. Now, one of the most impactful ways to integrate herbal medicine into activism is through education, right? Because that having that knowledge is very important. Knowledge is important, but I always say wisdom is what is power, because knowledge is just getting the information, but wisdom is actually knowing what to do with the information that you have been given. So I say wisdom is power. So really giving people information, teaching them how to become health caretakers of themselves and their families and their own homes and their communities. We give them a sense of independence and self-sufficiency. So you can do this by doing workshops, one-on-one sessions, community events, all of these things to help people learn how to identify, harvest, and even use local plants around them for medicine, because the medicine is all around them and it's here and it's free. The goal is not just to provide remedies, but to teach the how and the why behind them. So you can tell someone, oh, you got a cough. Here, take this medicinal syrup and it's going to help you with your cough. It'll get to the root of the issue, get rid of whatever may be irritating the lining of your throat. Boom, you good. But they walk away with the remedy, but they don't know the why, or they don't know how they work. And this is very important for people to buy in. A lot of times people don't want to buy in because they're like, I don't feel like I have all the information here. You just told me just to trust you. And to be honest, I don't even know you. So you're not even giving me all of the information to make the decision on my own. And though, yes, I'm used to people just saying, here, just take this because I told you so. Some part of me is like, I don't want to do that. I'd like to know fully the ins and outs and the whys and the hows. And people don't realize that they need to know the whys and the hows until either they get to a dire straight situation where it feels like nobody else can help them, or whether they feel like they get to a point to where the doctor's like, look, we done did all we need to do. Call your family. I don't know what else to tell you. Then people are like, wait a minute. It's like they get slapped in the face. They wake up. Now they're like, nah, anything else from here on, I need to know why and the how. And if you're not trying to explain that to me, then this sounds like a gimmick and I'm not going to support you. So that's important. It's important to educate and understand that healing extends beyond the physical body. It also includes the emotional, mental, and spiritual well-being, because you don't just address the one without looking at all the others. Though people want to singularly look at just one thing, only focus on the health issue. But we can, as herbalists, we have to look at all parts of the human being that is standing in front of us. That is very important. And so we need community spaces that are dedicated to herbal education, local plant projects, community gardens, create hubs of knowledge and healing so that people feel like they have a way, they have hope, they can take care of themselves. Introduce plants like chamomile and lavender, that serve as nervines to help calm their nervous system. Look at adaptogens like ashwagandha and holy basil to help people navigate stress. Through herbalism, we can foster not just personal wellness, but a collective resilience, because people are going to come running for this information. They already are. I hear it all the time. You know what? I wanted to get into it, but I just don't know where to start. I remember my grandpa, he used to do X, Y, and Z, but I don't even know how to identify a plant. I might get out there and kill myself just eating something off the ground. People are hungry for the knowledge. Why? Because they want to survive. At the end of the day, people want to live. And not only do they want to live, they're learning that the quality of their life is just as important now than their life itself. So I want to have not only a life to live, but I also want to have a good quality of life. Because if I'm living, but I'm walking around here with a dis-ease or a disorder on my back that limits my life in any kind of way, then am I really living? And so it's bigger than herbalism. It's really bigger than us all. But because we are in this world, right? And we are in these bodies that are housing us for a little while, right? Then we have to take the knowledge that we know so that people can get out here and learn how to take care of themselves, and then they can have a better quality of life that they created for themselves. Because as herbalists, if we're just the holders and the keepers of the knowledge and only people can come to us to get that information, well, now you're raising yourself up into a deity that's a no-no. You're raising yourself up to a situation where now you're going to make yourself a target. Because the idea is to take the knowledge, spread it to the people, and let the people do the work for themselves. It's not so that you can raise yourself up as the supreme leader of the herbal world. And then now you have millions and billions of people running you down, trying to get your information, trying to get help. What can I do for my baby? What can I do for my husband? What can I do for my daughter? What can I do for my wife? What can I do for... And now you're like overwhelmed. It's because you want to draw people to you. No, you draw people to the knowledge, not to you, to the knowledge. So let's look at some practical ways that you can integrate herbalism into your local community. Number one, create community herbal stores. I know people are saying apothecaries is a crazy word right now, so I'm not going to use it, even though I just said it, right? But create these things with accessible herbal remedies. Another thing that you can do is host herbal clinics to provide free or low-cost herbal care. Another thing that you can do is partner with schools or food banks and shelters to distribute herbal resources to those who may need them the most. And a lot of times you can put together like some little mini first aid kits or some little pill packets for those that may have digestive upsets or issues like that. Or, little cleansing packets for maybe the homeless, using herbs to kind of help clean their feet and keep them, healthy and sanitize, these type of things. Another thing that you can do is develop skill sharing circles. And this is where people can learn about plant identification, medicine making, and sustainable growing practices. Because if you can teach them also how to grow their own plants as well, especially the ones they use more often, that too is empowering. And one of the things that's important to know is that herbalism is deeply tied to our relationship with the land. So encouraging people to grow their own herbs and forage responsibly and prepare their own remedies, this actually strengthens their bond with nature. Teaching ethical wildcrafting also ensures that these plant resources remain available even for future generations while fostering a sense of environmental stewardship. So teaching and showing people how to go get what you need, but leave the rest for others, rather than just going and just being consumption minded and just snatching plants out the ground and, not really thinking about those that may need it or the animals that may need it. It's like in our society, I don't know sometimes if industrialization has really moved us into a forward place, because I feel like we've paid a deep price for that. Because we want it now, we want it quick, we want it at the touch of a thing, and it's all about us and me. And so we've lost that ability to be able to connect with each other, to be interconnected with each other. And so, of course, if that's the case with humans, we definitely have lost our connection with nature and our ability to flow. There was a rhythm with us back in the day. There was a rhythm, and we flowed with the earth. We worked with the earth. Everybody in the earth knew their purpose and they knew their place. And everybody played their part. And that's how it worked. And that's how it flowed. But somewhere along the way, we've gotten disconnected. Somewhere, right? Somewhere we have gotten disconnected. Now let's talk about breaking barriers. Many marginalized communities face barriers to herbalism, and this could be whether it's due to misconceptions, financial struggles, or lack of access to education. But overcoming these barriers, or helping them to overcome these barriers, means that we are debunking myths and fears about herbal medicine. And if you've lived long enough, there's tons out there. I had, and it's kind of funny, I had this pharmacist tell me, she was like, yeah, we're told in our pharmacy school not to even talk to you guys. I was like, what? What we do to you? you know. And of course, there's always a fear mongering campaign. There's always somebody that didn't use herbs appropriately, or, didn't use them as they were recommended, and there was some sort of injury because of that. And so, of course, that's going to be promoted as the face of, if you decide to go with an herbalist, right? Nobody's going to be honest about, well, I didn't take it how I was supposed to, and that's why I had anaphylactic shock. Or I didn't tell my herbalist that I'm also taking pharmaceuticals, and because of that reaction, this is what happened. People aren't always going to be honest, right? So nobody talks about that. But that's the importance of us as herbalists being around, so that we can debunk these myths and fears about herbal medicine. The other thing is that the other way that we can overcome these barriers is by providing affordable, low-cost herbal remedies and free educational resources. So if you're an herbalist and you want to do something like this, you're like, I need a grant. I need, how am I going to be able to afford this? You got to find free. Free. Look around you. What medicines are growing around you in nature? And that's free. Use that. Okay. If there's churches, if there's local libraries, and where you can teach community classes and things like that for free, do that. Now, see if there's places that say, hey, I really respect what you're doing. I think it's amazing. Great. Would you mind printing brochures, for my classes, so that people in the community can have this information on how to use medicines? This is how some of the ways you can provide affordable or even low cost herbal remedies. Use what's around you. Make products from the herbs that's around you, and try to keep them simple. Back in the day, our ancestors, they didn't have all these fancy oils and the antioxidant this and that and this and that. They didn't have all that. Sometimes a poultice was just a little water, squeeze, and put it on the hand. Sometimes a tincture was somebody's alcohol, poured it in there, let it sit. It ain't the high class alcohol. It's just whatever we could find. Just use whatever is safe. Okay, let me just say that. But whatever gets the job done, so that you can keep the cost of your herbal remedies either free or really low cost, considering the community around you. And this is why I tell people, when you're doing community work, okay, when you're doing community herbalism, look into doing a community health study. And if you can't do one yourself, look at local hospitals and other organizations that pay the big bucks for the researchers to do the community health studies. And these community health studies will give you a variety of different type of information on the health issues and concerns of the people of that community. So how do you know you can be effective? Is you're addressing the needs of the community, the real needs, the true needs of the community. So that's just a little tip right there. Another way that you can break the barriers is by respecting cultural traditions and tailoring your herbal education to meet diverse needs. So in education, period. Okay. When you're teaching people, you could be sitting in front of people with a variety of different levels of knowledge and experiences, especially when it comes to herbal medicine. They may have had someone, a grandmother, a grandfather, a mother, an uncle, somebody that used herbal medicine at one point in time. So they know a little bit about it. Then you may have somebody that's sitting in front of you that don't know nothing about it. Then you may have somebody that knows more than most. So you want to respect those cultural traditions, even if it's like, I don't know what in the world that is. That sounds like some voodoo or something like that, or whatever your mind may take you. Okay. Because it doesn't align with your way of thinking. You still, at the end of the day, want to be respectful of just people, period. All right. And know your community and tailor your herbal education to meet their diverse needs. And make sure that you look at that community health study to understand what their needs are, and talk to people to understand what their needs are. And this is how you can look at breaking those barriers. All right. So let's talk about the challenges and opportunities in community herbalism. All right. Now, while herbal medicine and herbalism in and of itself is a powerful tool, it does face some challenges, and you have to know that. Okay. One is misinformation and skepticism from those that are accustomed to pharmaceutical-based care. So you're going to have to be patient with people because they are so used to, I got this illness, you checked out my illness, give me a pill to deal with it, and that's it. You don't ask me any additional questions. You don't dig all in my business. You don't try to ask me about my mental health. You don't ask about any of that. You just give me a pill for the issue. You don't challenge me on what I'm eating or make other recommendations about what I could be eating or should be eating. This is the way that I have been doing things. So because people have been doing things that way for so long, by the time they come to you, it's kind of ingrained in them. So you're going to have to be a little patient because they're going to have to unlearn what they've always knew in order to be able to accept the new information that's coming into their mind. So you are going to have some skepticism. Now, in terms of misinformation, that is everywhere. It's a lot of people talking fast, talking loud, talking quick, right? But you have to teach people how to, first of all, discernment is key. Because not everybody talking and looking right and dressed in gold is that. There's a lot of wolves out here in sheep's clothing. And so you need to know that. And you got to train people to know that as well. It's not about a gimmick. If it's like some kind of get rich quick, or get slim quick or get healed quick, or, these type of instant gratification type of marketing schemes, you want to tell people to be careful for that stuff. Even though you want to deal with this issue and you want to get it dealt with fast, do not be tempted to take the fast road, because that road may come with some other things that you weren't prepared for or you didn't see because you didn't want to sit back and do the work. And so these companies, these big that have all this big marketing dollars and all this stuff, they feed on people's laziness. They feed on the fact that people just want to get something quick and keep it moving. But they're not there for you when the side effects have now kicked in. So you got to teach people that the misinformation is huge, 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 huge. The other thing is the commercialization of herbal medicine, right? And this often disconnects this commercialism of herbal medicine from its traditional community-centered roots. Because it's not all about what I can sell you. It's really about what I can teach you. And back then, people taught, they sat with each other. They learned, they sat up under the elders. They learned from them. Now it's just, this is what I can charge you for this and keep it moving. Good luck if it works. So that's one of the challenges, another one of the challenges, I should say, that we face in community herbalism. And then finally, one is a need for greater collaboration between herbalists, farmers, and organizations to increase access to medicinal plants. So we do have a small amount of farmers that are willing to grow foods, fruits, and vegetables, and that's amazing. But how many farmers do we realistically have, especially in my region, that are growing herbs and medicinal plants? Some may grow one may grow another, but it's not a big of a number as it probably should be. So we need greater collaboration. The other thing is, because I am big on specialization, I think us as herbalists need to collaborate as well, because you may have something in your community that you're dealing with, you're unsure about, and I may be familiar with it. Therefore, I can help you. Whereas you may have someone else who, let's say, is familiar with diabetes and insulin resistance and all of this, and they're like, oh, because of this is what I did and this is what worked in my community, and they can communicate with you. Again, we have to get out of our bubbles and we have to get out of our silos and we have to come together. And that's something that has to be learned, and somebody has to get it kicked off. Why not you? But, despite all these challenges, right, there are tons of opportunities that are on the horizon. So working together, we can create new networks of support, and we can learn that bringing herbal knowledge back to the people is where we should be. That is our goal. Bring this knowledge back to the people so that they can impact their communities, so that they can impact their households, so that they can have a better quality of life, not just live, but have a great quality of life while they are living. So I want to put out there a call to action. to each and every last one of you under the sound of my voice to get involved, to educate and empower. Start by learning about the plants in your own backyard and then start sharing that with other people. Then you can start seeking out books, online courses, local herbalist groups. Join all of that so that you can increase and deepen your level of understanding. And then if there isn't a community herbalist network near you, you start one. If you build it, they will come. Bringing people together for plant-based healing is one of the most revolutionary acts that we can take. This is a revolution. This is a call to action from the Demystified Herbalist to all of you. This is a call of action. It's time. Get involved, educate, and empower. Because herbalism is more than just medicine. It is a movement. It allows us to heal, educate, and resist systems that seek to control our health. By sharing this knowledge, we can help build stronger, healthier, and more self-sufficient and self-reliant communities. So whether you are an experienced herbalist or just starting out your journey, remember this one thing. The plants are here for us. And together, we can use them to create change. If you like what you heard, please like, share, and subscribe. Follow me on all my social media sites at The Demystified Herbalist. And until next time, family, be the change you wish to see. And I'm out.